Hey there, welcome to a brand new season of Making Waves, stories of people making a difference in Sharks territory. I'm your host, Tara Slone, and so happy to be with you once again. This episode features a familiar face to Sharks fans. Defenseman Scott Hannan spent the better part of 10 seasons with the Sharks and stayed in the area when he was done playing. After spending many years coaching his kids on the ice, Scott recently took on the role of director of the Junior Sharks program. I talked to Scott about why he felt compelled to help the next generation of hockey players. Let's start by talking about your role here at Sharks Ice. What's your official title?
A little bit of everything. The director of the Junior Sharks. So, Curtis had the job before me. They went through a period where they didn't have anybody, and then I stepped into that, and that's pretty much what I do.
Did they have to entice you? I mean, it's a big job. I know you and I have had conversations about, how much this actually entails. So did you take some convincing?
I don't know if it was convincing as much as I was down here all the time. I was coaching, with Mark Smith, the 14 AAAs. So 13 AAAs last year. I coach both my boys. I'm involved a lot. I do the Little Sharks program. I wasn't sure if I wanted to step back into a position. I don't want to call it retirement because it was just busy with my family. But I felt that, there was a need for it. Obviously being down at the rink all the time and seeing the amount of kids, and I thought I could do some good. I wanted to be sure that I was going to be able to step in and do some things that I wanted to do as far as where I saw the program and where I thought it could go, and some of the steps that were probably going to be needed. So I had to talk to some people before I stepped into it to make sure that it was going to be the right fit.
Okay, so elaborate on what it is that you feel like you want to accomplish here.
The hockey's changed a lot in the last 20 years from where I grew up in it, where it was just, you play for fun. There's so much more competition involved in it. And I think some things that I saw that maybe the program could change, and I wanted to see, where we can go. And I'm excited at the challenge. I think that there's a chance in NorCal we could be, a top 40, top 30 club. That's a big step for, a program here in California to be able to step in that and to be nationally competitive.
Talk about the girls program a little bit. What are you seeing in terms of the evolution of girls hockey?
I think that's exciting. I think girls hockey, from where it was, where there wasn't many pathways, especially in Northern California, where, there was combo teams and the girls had to play on the boys' side. And women's hockey is just growing now to the professional women's leagues, and you see pathways. I do the Little Sharks program, here, and you have a full group that's just girls that are coming out that are wanting to play the game of hockey, and I think that's exciting.
You talked about the competitive side of hockey, but there are also are kids who just want to play for fun. What's available to them here?
I think, when we say competitive and we say just for fun, I think that's, sort of something that I think is gone from youth sports a little bit in this day and age, where I think kids are driven too early to be either A, on the best team, or hey, I have to travel there, or I have to do this to get to that point. And, coming from the position I did, I played hockey growing up. I packed my bags after the end of the season and I set them down and I played a different sport. We have a huge house league program,
right,
where the kids just get to come in on more of a set schedule. They get to play their games. There's not a big commitment level. And it's funny, when you see those players and they're playing at 8U and 10U, sometimes those are the players that end up playing at that 13, 14, AAA level. There's a lot of enjoyment, and I think you learn a lot from multiple sports, especially things like soccer and all these things. I pushed my kids to play that when they were young, and I thought they got a lot of growth out of that.
What kind of conversations are you having with parents right now?
One thing I learned, because a lot of people warned me about, that part of the job
right,
coming in, and it's like, oh, you're going to get dealt with a lot of that, and I think open lines of communication.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think answering their questions and being honest. I have a view on the game of hockey and what I think youth sports should be, as far as how we treat each other on the ice, how we treat each other in the rink. I think it's important to bring a good attitude to the rink as far as parents, and I think it's important. We have young referees, we have young kids, and they're seeing this, and they're seeing that level of competition, and maybe it's, they look at the NHL or they watch the NHL and they see those guys going at it, and they want to put that down into 10U, and I think there's so much more to be learned from sports than just playing professional. I think it teaches you life lessons that you can take on in any aspect that you do. I think that's an important piece.
Yeah, can you say a little bit more about that? Like, I mean, what does playing a team sport like hockey arm you with as you move through your life?
When you play in a sport, you have to be in a locker room with people. You have to work with people that sometimes, I mean, hey, I played the game a long time. I didn't love everybody that walked into that dressing room. You've met a lot of people, right? But you have to learn how to work with those people. You have to strive towards a common goal, and you have to get there. And you talk about, you hear this phrase thrown around here a lot in hockey, like, what do you miss the most? It's the locker room. But how important at the same time locker rooms are to winning championships, to good businesses. And I think when I stepped outside of hockey, I think you can sit there and you can say that important pieces of good businesses are the people that they have there and how well they work inside a team, and they can move towards a common goal. And I think sports teaches you how to be a good teammate, how to be a good leader. Failure happens often. And sometimes you're on the right side of the failure, and sometimes you're on the wrong, and how do you react in those instances?
What do you think it is that drives, high-level athletes like you to want to help the next generation?
I think some of it is wanting to give back to something that gave so much to me. I think that there's an honest answer in that. I played the game a long time, and you know a lot, but you kind of take it for granted what you know, and you kind of take it for granted that everybody else knows what you know about the game of hockey, and then you step into it and you realize that that's not commonplace. And so certain things that made me a good hockey player, I think, could give me something to add to these kids, and hopefully they enjoy the game, like I said, as much as I enjoyed it, the growth I had out of it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.